Yeah, what's happening? We about to bring that action. Gotta hold it down for my Seattle Kraken. Hey, we going beneath the waves. We going beneath the waves. Get it hype, step onto the ice. Ready for some action. Release the Kraken. Hey, we going beneath the waves. Going beneath the waves.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Beneath the Waves podcast, your back to weekly recap of all things Seattle hockey and beyond. I am Matt.
And I'm Alex.
And we're once again operating shorthanded this week. Derek had a scheduling conflict come up today, so you'll be hearing him, at least in a voice memo sort of way, a little later in the show. But it's just the two of us. As always, we have to show a little Heather hype off the start. She is still absolutely crushing things with writing for the Seattle Torrent. Lots of game recaps going up, which is awesome to see. If you missed out on the games, it's always a great way to catch up on what happened. And if you missed last week's episode, first of all, pause this, go back and listen to that, and then come back to this one. We got our return dose of Heather's voice on the airwaves talking about her cracktivist grievances. And she also said that hopefully very soon in this new year, you'll be hearing her bringing some torrent content once she gets everything on the go on the writing side. So very excited for her. Keep crushing the things that you're doing. But it's the Me and Alex show for today, and this is now show 51. We are on the back half, on the way to 100 now of the BTW pod. On this episode today, we're going to catch up on the last 2 weeks of games. We took a little extended holiday break. We're going to check in on some Kraken news. We're going to lock in our Kraken New Year's resolutions, and we are going to preview the week ahead. Alex, it's been about 3 weeks since I've heard your voice. What is new and exciting? How was your Christmas?
Absolutely chaotic. With two kids, you just don't stop. You just don't sleep. The 5, 6, I think I had 9 days off. They went by way too quickly, but it was a lot of fun. Got to do, make some core memories, but also got to watch lots of hockey. So that was lots of positives there. So how about you?
I have two kids in the form of a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old niece and nephew, and just seeing them for one day on Christmas Eve was enough for me. So I can't imagine how it is for you real parents there. But I did also have to go back to work today, back to teaching, and I was telling you before we started recording that I just woke up from like the fattest nap that I just crashed out at from when I got home from work. So we're getting back into the swing of things, and then we have in less than an hour from now a game of Kraken hockey to sit through. So we are gonna have to, I don't know, pop some Celsius or Monster. Sponsorships opportunities are available. We can really just entertain any energy drink sponsor to help us stay up for these games, especially for you on the East Coast time zone, because that's some gross timings for you. One exciting thing I will say, my Christmas gift to myself, my Boxing Day gift to myself, is I have finally purchased an Abyss jersey now that they are available for customization up here in Canada. So, smattering of applause in the
Who'd you
background.
get? Like that's the big question. Who'd you get to don the back of that jersey?
I got Mr. Shane Wright on the back of my jersey. There was a lot of back and forth. I debated for a long time. I think for like an entire day, I left the payment screen up on my computer just because I wasn't sure if I was going to flip to something else. But luckily, and I think I sent this to you yesterday, I saw some rumors going around that there's going to be another wave of league-wide special jerseys next year. This is from Jersey_fans on Instagram, which apparently they're somewhat reputable in the names or the things that they leak out. And there is something called the Hometown Remix jersey themes coming next year. And it says the Kraken's jersey is rumored to be navy. So we'll see what happens with that. There's not really much hints outside of kind of what that name is. We'll just have to keep our eyes peeled and wait and see. And I'm glad that I had a couple names tossed up because that means I can now throw a name over onto the jersey next year and start shelling away for that.
Biggest question, do they go with the standard Seattle main logo or do they go to like an anchor? Do they do something different? Because like I feel like we're at that point where we have so many Kraken jerseys with the standard logo. Do they kind of veer off to a new logo for like that specialty?
Yeah, I have no idea what remix is going to entail. I think it's still going to probably stick with the S as much as like an anchor or something would be cool. Maybe it's just styled in a different way, but I think we're still sticking with that S.
Yeah.
I also want to, before we get into things, give a shout out to someone over on the Seattle Kraken Reddit page, user Tony Tonti. I wanted to give a special shout out to them because there was a post that went up a while ago saying, what are some Seattle Kraken podcasts you would recommend? And Tony Tonti said, we talked a lot about the big ones, the heavy hitters out there, but wanted to show some love to the lesser known guys. And had some nice things to say about us over here on the pod, even if it came at the expense of making fun of my CFL football team that I cheer for. But, turned it around and said that I seemed like a nice guy at the end. So if you only knew, Tony Tonti, if you only knew. But again, thank you for the recommendation. We love it anytime someone gets to, someone shares that one, they are liking the show and then recommend it to others. That means a lot. So big time thank you for that. Alex, we had to have Derek fill in on this part last week, or last episode rather. It is time for us to money puck around and find out. The check-in 3 weeks ago or so was pretty negative. We started leaning more towards the tracking the first round pick option. I think we were sitting at like 11% Kraken make the playoffs, 10% we get first round pick. After this last little stretch over the holidays, how are we looking?
Yeah, it's definitely a roller coaster when it comes to the money pucking and seeing where the Kraken are sitting. So right now, with the form that the Kraken have been playing at, they have a 55.2% chance of making the playoffs. So we've completely reversed all the depression that we were seeing in December, and we've really turned it around to start the new year. You kind of wild to see when you really look at it. Now, there's a lot of optimism heading into the new year, but I definitely think there's a lot of fans and a good portion of the fan base that are still very hesitant to start believing that this team is a wild card or a playoff team. But we are sitting above that 50% range. Our points total for the entire season has also increased prior to the December months. And then at this rate, our first round pick to get that first overall pick is sitting at 3%. So we're leaning more towards a playoff spot opposed to getting a first overall pick. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't know how I'm feeling about this, to be honest. How are you feeling about it?
Well, at the start of the season, I was banking on us making the playoffs and wanting to feel really strong and positive about that. It did become entertaining to dabble in the what's the first round pick's going to be, but I'm going to take the positivity of making the playoffs over the pessimism of getting a first round overall pick. But you never know if what I have been reading on Twitter over the course of today following Canada's loss yesterday about people's takes on Gavin McKenna, we might have a Shane Wright kind of event on our hands where he topples down because after yesterday's game against Czechia, people were not too high on Gavin McKenna. So we'll have to see what happens there. First of all, have you recovered from that game? We were texting through the night as we were watching, and that was just an absolute talk about a roller coaster.
Yeah, no, I have not recovered over it. The fact that we have not made the gold medal game in three consecutive seasons or three consecutive years is quite depressing, considering we can consider ourselves the the kings and queens of hockey. So it's kind of upsetting in that way. Yeah. Honestly, I think we talked about it last night. Just defensive lapses, just miscommunication, and just weren't ready to play. And it was our downfall at the end of the night. But yeah, Gavin McKenna, it's very interesting to see what's going to happen with him because overall, I wasn't impressed with his tournament, and this is where they tend to highlight their skill set. And I don't think he really highlighted exactly what would make him a first overall pick. But kind of leading back to the whole, we might have another Shane Wright opportunity here. I don't think he falls below fifth. So if we're hoping to somehow, pull Gavin McKenna out from under a lot of people, the Kraken have to do significantly worse. So I definitely think that we're kind of sitting in this weird bubble, and I think we're going to talk about it later. But I just hope that we're not going to be that team that misses the playoffs by like 3 points, and we're just kind of like that middle ground where we miss out on the top talent. We're still going to get someone half decent, but it's also going to be another season where we're like, damn it, we missed the playoffs and we're not even in contention for a first overall pick.
Oh, I definitely said last episode that we're going to be like 5 points out and pick eighth overall for
Yeah.
the third year in a row. So,
Oh, it's guaranteed. It's
and
such
take a center, and take a center.
yeah, it's Kraken, the Kraken mentality. Let's just call it that.
All right, well, let's talk about some good things here. There's quite a few games that were played since our last episode, so I'm not going to run down every single one, but just to broadly cover over it, we are now sitting at a record as of Monday, January the 5th, of 18 wins, 14 losses, and 7 overtime losses. We are currently sitting in the wild card one position with a couple games in hand. So we're sitting in a pretty good spot. I can only imagine what would have happened if we didn't go like 1-10-1 or whatever it was through the month of December. That was pretty rough. But as of right now, we are currently riding a 7 game point streak, going 6-0-1 in the last 7 games, which happens to also coincide with the trade of Mason Marchment. So, conspiracy theory tinfoil hat. Maybe that's what this has to do with, is he shed a little weight and everything changes, but who knows? I'm not going to read too much into that. In a grand scheme, before we get into some specifics about the last couple weeks, how are we feeling riding the streak?
Uh, you can't get mad with a streak. When it's a positive streak, it's fantastic. You know, you're enjoying the games, they're winning. Goaltending has been fantastic. So there's been a lot of positives. You look at the Western, you look at the Pacific Division, and it's just an absolute mess. Like the fact that the Kraken are 3 points off top spot in the Pacific is just insane. Because you look at the team and you're like, is this team a playoff team? I don't know, but you put a couple of wins together, and all of a sudden you're like, well, by records and by points, they are. So, if they continue to play like the way that they have, and like the way you mentioned it, you send off Mason Marchment, he goes to Columbus, and all of a sudden the team goes, hey, we can figure this out, and like they've been positive ever since. So, tinfoil hat for myself, but I kind of wonder if Mason Marchment was some sort of toxic, cancer in the dressing room, because at this rate, you ship him out, and all of a sudden the only game you've lost is a shootout, shootout slash overtime game. Like it's incredible to say that like this team is what they're doing, especially with the injuries and everything. Like hats off to them. Like I'm quite ecstatic about this, but I will reinforce the fact that I am very hesitant to say that this team can continue this on, because this team is streaky beyond belief. So we can be 6-0-1 now, but in 3 weeks' time we're going to be like, oh well, we're 1-7-2. We don't know what this team is. So, but right now, positivity is going to be my thing, and I'm quite happy with how they've been playing, and hopefully they can extend that with tonight's game against Calgary.
Yeah, looking at the standings in the Pacific, we are at 39 games played. Everyone else is above us. Anaheim has 2 games on us, Edmonton has 3 games on us, and Vegas has 1 game on us. So if we can link a couple more wins together, we're going to make some big jumps to get up to those spots. So fingers crossed we can do that. I want to say, going along with good things that have happened in the last little stretch, I was dreading it, but it turned out amazing. The Matty Beniers shootout goal that happened. Whatever little zigzag and move he pulled, he's usually pretty butt in the shootouts, and we kind of dread any time that he gets out there. But that was a pretty slick moment to seal that deal in the last game.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is the fact that we actually managed to win a shootout is shocking beyond belief, because like we tend to be a team that doesn't do that. Like it's just something that we don't do. Plus, we're running back to backs. Like, who is this team?
Yeah, that was the next thing I was going to bring up too, is for the first time, and I believe it was 658 days, the Kraken won the second game of a back-to-back. And not only that, they did it again 11 days later. So we did not have to wait 2-ish years between back-to-back wins, which is crazy that we shook that curse at least. So now we just need to take down the curse of the Abyss jerseys, and we're laughing.
One win. Just give me one win. Because I don't know about you, but if like we don't secure, like I love the jersey, like I
Mhm.
love the jersey, but like if we don't manage to win a single game in the Abyss jersey this season, like on a scale of like bad to cursed, like where would you rank the Abyss jersey? Because like that's a pretty, like if they don't win a game, like that's pretty bad.
I mean, it'd be cursed to the level of the reverse retro, but it at least
Yeah.
looks better than it. So I would at least put it above that in rankings.
Yeah, my reverse retro just kind of sits in the closet. It's like, hey, you want to come out? Can I come out and play? I'm like, no, you're going to stay
Nope.
in there. You can't
Yeah.
do this.
But when Hometown Remix comes around, buckle up. We're going 9-0 wearing those suckers, whatever they end up looking like.
Playoffs, it's happening all the way. Let's do it.
All right. Going into some specifics on the week, we'll, as always, open with our injury updates. We still have no Schwartz, Murray, or Montour in the lineups since we last recorded. Jared McCann did return on December 28th against the Flyers, and he has 2 goals and an assist in the 4 games since he has come back. So he seems to be hitting his stride once again. Hopefully, he's able to stay in for the longer term. How do you feel having Canner back in the lineup?
Well, we mentioned the fact that we were desperate for some form of goal scoring ability from anyone. McCann comes back and he does exactly what we've been asking for. It's not shocking that Jared McCann is the Kraken's all-time goal scoring leader because that's what he does. He scores goals. But he's been out for most of the season. He comes back. He looks like he hasn't missed a step, and he's scoring goals. I love McCann. I'm so excited that he's back because he's that player that we've been missing. And I hate the fact that his name's been coming up in trade rumors.
Yeah. And not only is he scoring or contributing to assists, he also threw some knuckles in the game against Vancouver, which I don't know why it's always Jared McCann who's the fighter on this team. But as soon as he started throwing hands, I was like, please don't like break a knuckle against the guy's helmet or like tweak your knee when you're going for a hip toss finish kind of thing. That was exciting, but very terrifying as well.
Yeah, one of my favorite things. Okay, so I had two thoughts on that. First was, dear God, McCann, what are you doing? You've been injured far too much this season. Do not get hurt. The second was, Connor Garland is so small because the amount of like shots that McCann was throwing that were going above his head, I think there was like 5 or 6 where Garland, if he was like 2 or 3 inches taller, would have been knocked out because McCann was just throwing fists. But every single fist went over Garland's head, and I couldn't stop laughing.
I like the bench cam that they had when they were showing after the fight happened. They're like, yeah, this was totally telegraphed because McCann took a weird hit or something like that. I can't remember the exact instigating incidents of it, but he's on the bench, kind of peeking over the other side. He's like, "Oh, it's coming, I'm coming for you." And I was like, "Whoa, Jared McCann, whoo!"
Apparently, getting injured, it just changes a man.
Yeah, he was hungry for it, I guess. Another return, Berkeley Catton now rocking the fresh 27 jersey as the universe should be. Like I said on Twitter, the planets are aligning. Things are about to click for this guy. He returned to the lineup on December 23rd against the Kings. He still has not found the back of the net, but my God, it's like comically painful how close he is getting on some of these occasions to just streaking in front of a wide open net and it like misses the post by a centimeter or he like trips over his own feet and it doesn't go in. Like it's coming. He's waiting for it.
Honestly, it gave me flashbacks to Shane Wright when he first initially started. Like he just couldn't buy a goal, and everyone's like, come on, it's gonna be so close." And then like hit the post, just missed the net, glove save, you name it. And then as soon as he scored, he just went off. I feel like that's what's gonna happen with Catton. He's just got to get his first. But yeah, he looks great in the 27. Like it just looked weird on Marchment. Like so, it's been returned to its rightful owner. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that Catton has that number. But if you have a 77 Catton jersey, like that is
You
like
got
that.
collector's item now.
Oh, it's a collector's item. Like you got to frame that puppy. That thing is a thing of beauty.
It's like I said, it's like the people who have the 16 McCann
Oh
from the
yeah.
inaugural season before he swapped over to 19. I almost thought like stick Berkeley in that shootout that was happening so you can at least it's not going to count to his record, but give him like a feeling of what it's like to potentially score. But didn't happen. Matty Beniers sealed the deal, and his time will come. Maybe tonight's the night. Fast forward 40 minutes from now, and he'll have an electric opening goal of the game. Jaden Schwartz, we said he has not returned to the team yet, but he did return to full practice on Sunday and is getting close to returning. But Lane Lambert said that it's all up to him and how he's feeling. So I think it's like a game time decision for today. I haven't checked Twitter or anything like that to see what's happening, but he is at least no longer in the red and no contact jersey. He's getting reps in with the team, and fingers crossed he's going to be back very soon because that is a big piece we have been missing.
Yeah, Schwartzy's definitely been one of those guys, goal scoring players that we definitely need and desperately need. You slot him in, and all of a sudden this team changes. Like this team without injuries is good. And I know you can debate this stating that there's a lot of like middle six guys, but like realistically speaking, like what we did in the second season was with a lot of those guys, and they were very good because we had, like four second lines. So, having guys like Schwartz back, McCann back, Catton back, like it's just going to benefit this team, and hopefully like you get a bunch of lines and a bunch of players getting the pucks into the net on like more occasions, and this team could definitely do something. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to have him back. Hopefully we see him on the ice tonight. If not, probably will be on the ice quite soon.
Yeah, we're back home tomorrow,
Yeah.
so you could maybe be there. We'll see. And not an injury, but a roster move still, nonetheless. Yanni Newman has been re-signed to Coachella Valley, so he had lots of consecutive games and weeks of being scratched and not getting a lot of play time. They finally shipped him back down to Coachella Valley, and I think he immediately scored on the power play. So do you think it was just a squandered opportunity with him, that he's not fitting with Lambert's system, or that he's one of those guys who's like top tier AHL and maybe lower tier NHL?
I think with Newman, I think with him, he needs to have more opportunities. And that's not me saying, oh, he was given fourth line or third line minutes. Like, I definitely think that he needs as many opportunities as possible because we know and we've seen him and his goal scoring ability in the NHL. When he got called up last season and he was given the opportunities, he was effective. This season, it kind of seems that there he's been on the outs. So with that, he just hasn't had the opportunities. And instead of him being a healthy scratch, eating popcorn in the press box, you might as well send him down to Coachella and to hone in on the skills that he needs to develop. Like he's played 3 games in Coachella and he's already got 2 points, a goal and an assist. But I definitely don't think that he is like a top AHL player or like a third, fourth line NHL player. I definitely think he has the ability to be like a second line NHL player, but he needs to have the opportunities, but he also needs to just kind of develop a couple other of his skill sets to be successful. I'm still a little salty about the fact that they sent him down. I definitely think that he should have been given more opportunities, but the Kraken management and coaching staff, I think, are kind of leaning towards their veterans opposed to their younger guys. So with that, you might as well just send him down, let him play, and let the management decide later on if this team is going to be a playoff team or if this team is going to be selling their assets. So I was pretty crotchety when it first got announced that he was going to be sent down to Coachella. But I think now that I've thought about it, now that I've seen it and kind of like sat with it, it's the right call.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure his time will come. His time's just not now. And yeah, personally, I'd rather have him get reps in Coachella versus just stewing away in the press box, wasting kind of those prime development years that he has. So we'll keep track of things over the next week. Again, hopefully Schwartz comes back soon, Murray comes back soon, and Montour, it should still be a little bit from him with that hand surgery, but we will keep you posted in how that goes. The jaw-dropping moments that make hockey, hockey. Experience them all with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me state. And new customers, this one is just for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved. Next up, we always want to talk about our goalies, and our goalies have just been absolutely on fire through these last few games. Again, since we had so many games, not going to run them down game by game, but just on a season-wide kind of thing. Joey Decord is sitting at a 2.77 goals against average and a 903 save percentage, and Philip Grubauer is sitting at 2.23 goals against average and a 920 save percentage, which is just pretty crazy and unreal. Before I get into some specifics about the latter of those two guys, how are you feeling about goalie performance right now?
Can't complain. You have two goaltenders that have above 900. Grubauer has surprised me in every way possible, and there's nothing negative I can say about that. We have witnessed how many years of Philip Grubauer on the Seattle Kraken where he has had subpar below 900 save percentage. His goals against average was through the roof this season. Honestly, he's looked like the Philip Grubauer that played prior to the Kraken. Like that's kind of how I've seen him this season. He's been more alert. He's been more focused. He's been making saves. A lot of the saves that he's been making this season, you would definitely say, well, he would have missed that over the other years. So yeah, like Gru's been fantastic. No complaints whatsoever. And like I said, with Joey, Joey comes off of like a career year last year, gets the contract, played a lot of games to start the season. And I do think he's still battling some form of injury, but if he's still, maintaining an above 900 and his goals against average is, below 3, then, you have a perfect tandem right there that can get you to the playoffs if they are playing like this the entire season. So if you have offense, you have defense, and you have a tandem like this that leads you into the playoffs, anything can happen. So, hats off to both tenders. It's been great to watch.
Yeah, and I want to highlight, like I said, Gru specifically. I'm just going to pull some numbers here from a post that the folks over at Emerald City Hockey had. And this is kind of like the Philip Grubauer redemption arc that has happened this season. So there's 4 stat lines here, last season versus this season. Save percentage, like we said, this season he is at 920. Last season he was at 875. So right now this season he is 4th overall for goalies in that department with a minimum of 10 games played. In 2024-25, he was 69th overall. So that is a big jump. Goals against average, like we said last year, or this year, he is at 2.32. Last year, he was at 3.49. Have you seen this graphic?
No, I haven't.
3.49, where do you think he ranked last season?
Probably like around the 70th. Like I would say like 65th to like 70th.
We were close. He was 66th.
Yeah.
And this season at 2.32, he is at 5th.
Yep.
For ranking. Goals saved above expected. Last season, he was at negative 12.66. Where do you think he fell?
Oh, God. I would say like 75th or like between 70 and 75 or probably lower.
Dude, you got to go on prices right. He was 72nd. This season, he is at 18.88 goals saved above expected, putting him at 7th place overall.
Yeah.
Which again is a crazy jump. And then the last one, goals saved above expected per 60. Last season, he was at minus 0.49, which had him at
59th.
69th, a little off there. And this season, he has at 1.452. Do you have a guess where he is at for this season?
3rd.
First place, baby.
Damn.
Philip Grubauer is the best performing goalie in that category so far this season. Minimum 10 games played. If you would have shown that to anybody and you told someone at the start of the season that you're a time traveler from the future and Philip Grubauer is going to be the top performing goalie and goals saves above expected per 60, they'll probably look at you and say, what does goals saved above expected per 60 mean? And also, you are lying. That is not
Oh,
Philip Grubauer, and you are not a time traveler.
honestly, if you would have told me this, if you told me this at the start of the season, like let's be serious here. We talked about like, are we going to buy Philip Grubauer out this offseason? Going back, a couple months, we've had the discussion before just at the start of the season, being like, well, Philip Grubauer is going to be a buyout candidate in the offseason. It really doesn't matter. To now, we're at the point where we're like, are we just going to let Grubauer just finish out his contract with the Kraken? Because at this point, if he's producing this type of performance game in game out, and you have Joey Decord and you have this kind of a tandem, there's no way you're going to be like we're going to get rid of Grubauer. Like we're looking at this point like Matt Murray is your waiver candidate.
Mhm.
Like Matt Murray is your possible tradable asset. Like there's no way that this team is going to be sending Philip Grubauer down.
I
Like
was thinking earlier when I was putting our notes together for tonight, Matt Murray right now, like strong start, got hurt, has been out. Other people are now stepping up. Has given me big vibes of season three Chris Drieger when he was the backup. He had that spot locked down, and then he got hurt, and Joey came in and started putting on the star-making performance, and then suddenly he found himself on the outs. And I think that's kind of where Matt Murray's finding himself right now.
yeah, the only difference is that Drieger had a $3.5 million contract. So if
Yeah,
you send
versus
him
1
down,
million.
there was like nothing, like nobody was going to grab him. But with Matt Murray's contract, he is a waiver claim waiting to happen. So I definitely think that if we run into an issue where we have to send a Tendy down, I think Matt Murray becomes a tradable asset at that point.
For sure, for sure. So I just want us to keep crushing this out, keep these performances up. This is absolutely unreal, and it's we're still not generating a whole lot of offense, but our goaltending and our defense is at least keeping us in it and keeping these games close. So hopefully we keep that going. Our second last stop on the topics this week is our milestones. Like I said before, it's nice having milestones from week to week that we are able to talk about some good things in this bounty of good things that we've had going on. First up, Jacob Melanson, a guy we have talked about quite a bit since he's been called up, registered his first NHL point on December the 29th against the Canucks, and he is currently on a three-game point streak. And it lumped in with this, I just wanted to also hype up the fourth line, which on Twitter I called the Calamari Crew because that's just what I looked up baby squids as, and calamari came up. So who doesn't love some alliteration? So the Calamari Crew of Jacob Melanson, Ben Myers, Ryan Winterton, Ty Cartier when he gets in there. These guys are like making a pretty solid impression.
No, absolutely. And I don't know about you, but Melly's become one of my favorite players on the Kraken. Like he is just everything you want in a hockey player. He isn't the biggest guy, but he is the biggest pest on the ice, but he can also produce. And you're not asking for the sun, the moon, and the stars. He's a fourth line guy, but he does everything that you want. And like those are the guys that really are sometimes the heart of the team. So I've been loving watching Melanson play, and that fourth line is definitely a joy to watch because, like I said, they can score, they can produce, but they can hit.
Yeah, he's I love his physicality and how big of hits he's throwing. He's like Mason Marchment, but he's cashing the checks that his mouth is writing. He's not turtling up and cowering away when he starts like throwing things together. He's following through on these hits and just making his presence felt, which I love.
Yeah, he's actually hitting the guys and not using his knee.
Yeah. Oh man. And then getting his shin hacked to pieces. Oh my Lord. That was something.
Rightfully deserved, though.
Next up, Capo Caco has played now in his 400th career NHL game in that same matchup against Vancouver. So that's a pretty big milestone. Every 100 games, that's pretty exciting to hit. He has kind of had a slower season. He was kind of hindered by that slash that he took preseason that broke his hand. So hopefully, hoping that he can kind of get back to last year's form pretty quick here.
Yeah, I think with Kako, it's taken him a little bit of time, but he's definitely getting back to where he was last season. So I'm excited with that because if you get a second half of the season Kako where he's at 100%, Like that's somebody to really watch out on. So I'm really excited with Kako, this coming half of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Next up, if you would have made this prediction in our friend Sasquatch NHL's first goal scoring prediction in the last game that was played, that Cale Fleury would be the opening goal scorer, I would call you a liar, and perhaps you are the time traveler. Cale Fleury scored his first goal as a member of the Seattle Kraken. This is the first goal that he has had in, they said on the broadcast, 2,240 days. 2,240 days between NHL goals. It's only his second goal of his career, I believe, and he was an expansion draft pick from Montreal. So he's technically been on this team for 5 seasons. He's had a ton of AHL time, but it felt pretty exciting to see him finally get a goal.
Yeah, his air miles has been racked up just from the amount of flights he's had from Coachella to Seattle and back. But like, honestly, finally, him getting a goal after being one of those expansion draft picks, is awesome to see. I was excited for Josh Mahura when he finally scored. Like, I was ecstatic for Mahura, but when I saw that Cale Fleury scored, I was like, finally, I'm like, this is his first goal as a Kraken. Like, better late than never. Like, so it took half a decade, but he finally did it.
Yeah. Just what I had to rewind the broadcast when they said how many days it has been since he scored. I'm like, that's several years. That's pretty crazy. But good on you, Cale Fleury. Let's keep it going. He's getting reps in now with Brandon Montour being out. I think he's kind of flip-flopping back and forth with Mahura, so we'll see what happens. But keep that going. The last milestone I want to talk about came in the December 23rd game against the Kings, where Jordan Eberle, Matty Beniers, the combo, which I have come to refer as the split, 7-10, little bowling joke for you. They combined for a double milestone. Matty's assist on the Ebbs goal was his 100th NHL assist, and that was Ebbs' 200th point as a Kraken. So he has joined Jared McCann and Vince Dunn in the 200-point Kraken club.
Nice. Yeah. I think Jordan Eberle, like I honestly, with Jordan Eberle, I'm going to start with Eberle first. I just kind of wonder where he'd be if he didn't get hurt last season. Like, would we be talking like 250 already in points for the Kraken?
Oh,
Because like,
he was on fire last season
oh,
before he blew
absolute
up his
fire.
pelvis.
So the fact that he's only hit 200 points now, but coming back from that pelvis injury is incredible. So ecstatic for Ebbs. Matty finally getting 100 assists is awesome. I think we've definitely. I don't know about you, but I've definitely seen Matty more as a playmaker opposed to a goal scorer. Nothing wrong with that. We know Matty can do and Matty can score, but he's definitely become more of that playmaking caliber type player. Yeah, like it's a great thing to see on that, like for milestones, and seeing some of the younger guys get up there in points, and then seeing some of those grizzled vets also establish themselves in Kraken lore.
Yeah, Matty is currently sitting at 6 goals and 17 assists this season. So definitely setting things up. The playmaker, like you said. Jordan Eberle, he's at the top of our stat clump here with 27 points, 14 goals, 13 assists. So we
I,
love to see that.
I still can't believe we don't have a player that has 30 points.
Yeah, I know. Well, we got right behind him Chandler Stevenson and Ellie Tolvanen both have 25. Matty is behind them at 23. And John Hayden, the only guy without a point on the season with the 3 games he played. Also, talking about points, I didn't put this in, but it just popped into my mind. Joey Decord had an assist in one of those games recently. I can't remember which one. He had an assist. He has 3 assists on the season, which puts him at the top of goalies for that. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And he's getting closer and closer to a goalie goal. I don't know about you, but I think it happens this year or next year or the year after. It's happening.
Hmm.
It's going to happen soon.
It's coming. Who gets a goal first, Joey Decord or Berkeley Catton?
I hate to say it, my money's on Joey.
He had 2 assists last season, 3 assists this season, and I recall seeing a stat on Twitter. I can't recall who, so I apologize for that. But he in the last 2 seasons is the goalie with the most points as well. So that's awesome. Put him in the shootout. We need him in the shootout.
Playmaker. We got him.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
All right. Last thing I want us to talk about this week. It's a new year. We apparently have a new year, new Kraken team on our hands with how they've been performing with this hot start. So I thought we could maybe each make a sort of Kraken New Year resolution, something that we're going to commit to through the end of this season in order to improve our experience as fans and things like that. I'm going to toss to Derek first. He's not here tonight, but he did fire a recording our way. So here is Derek's resolution for the upcoming season.
Well. We have the return of the duo pod with Alex and Matt. Hopefully you guys are holding it down. I know you are. But, yeah, here's my Kraken New Year resolution to improve our experience as fans, and specifically my experience as a fan. My resolution is that for the year of 2026, can't make any promises going forward. I'm done. I'm so done with the swinging of the pendulum back and forth when we win a couple games or we lose a couple games. I'm done with it for 2026. Okay, I'm probably going to revert 2027 and beyond. For 2026, we win a game, we lose a game. We're not overreacting. We're taking it game by game. And we're not the GM, okay? I'm just done. I'm done thinking about what every single game means. Okay? Yeah, says the person that does the podcast. Anyway, yeah, emotional stability. Take each game for what it is. Hopefully we keep winning. Let's just go. I take back everything I said in a last pod or a couple pods ago when I was like, oh, we need a tank. Because I don't even know. I'm not even going to say that we don't need a tank. I just don't know anymore. But yeah, that's my jumbled mess. But the resolution is that we take it game by game. Enjoy Kraken hockey and all the chaos that ensues. All right, back to you guys.
All right, so thank you, Derek, for lending your voice, even though you could not physically be here. Do you have any thoughts on his stance of taking things one game at a time and not being so quick to pull the trigger on flipping back and forth from positivity to negativity?
I definitely think we can all take a page out of that book. But when it comes to the Seattle Kraken, it's damn near impossible to try not to flip back and forth with this team. I don't know about you, but it's so hard to be like, this team is going to do well. And then it doesn't happen. And you're like, this team is horrible. This team is great. Look at where they're in money puck for the playoff odds. What is happening with this team? So I love Derek's resolution. But it's definitely one of those that would be difficult for, I would say, 99% of the fan base.
That's fair. That's fair. What's your resolution for 2026 Kraken?
My resolution for my Kraken resolution is definitely to support the goaltending no matter what. I think a lot of people know me, especially on Twitter, that I'm very critical. And I have been critical of goaltending in the past, whether that be Joey, whether that be Grubauer. Primarily, it's been Grubauer because of his seasons of late and how bad he's been. But I've tried to take a step back to try to support both goaltenders, or all three goaltenders for that matter. So my resolution is to maintain a positive aspect or a positive environment when talking about the goaltenders. Like, sure, I'm allowed to criticize them, but I'm not going to be like, they suck. This goalie sucks. Like, Grubauer is horrible. Decord is horrible. Murray is terrible. Like it's just going to be like goalies are voodoo. They have a bad game. I'm going to be supportive from here to the end of the season.
Okay, so we're kind of riding the same line here. I don't know if you hacked my Google Drive or what to see my notes, but my resolution for this year is that there will be no more Philip Grubauer slander coming from my mouth. And to like say what you said, been super critical of him in the past, and a lot of our topic of conversations has been when are we shipping him off? When are we shipping him off? Are we just riding this out? Are we going to buy him out? What's it going to be? But with how this season has started, I want to put myself in a mindset that I will no longer speak outwardly negatively about Philip Grubauer. I'm not going to roll my eyes when I see the tweet that he is the first off the ice and the likely starter. I'm not going to cringe and wince at things like that. He's doing what we hoped he would do for the last 4 seasons. And it's finally clicked and coming together. And I want to show some love and some praise to the German gentleman because he is definitely deserving of it now, especially after like last year, fans were very much on his case. Yeah, Alex points to self in the Zoom viewer. All right, if you have a resolution that you want to get on board with, hit up the tweet post for this episode on Twitter. Will be pinned at the top as it always is, and let us know what you're thinking. How are you going to improve your Kraken fan experience this season? Let's start winding things down here, Alex. We got puck drop in 15 minutes. Our week ahead, how are things looking?
So we have a very busy schedule, a very busy January schedule, especially with the Olympics coming in. Lots of games being played because you're going to have that 2 week break, and it's just going to be chaos. This week, so we are recording this on Monday before the Flames game. They do play tonight against the Calgary Flames, tomorrow against the Boston Bruins, Thursday against the Minnesota Wild, and then Saturday against the Carolina Hurricanes. There are also 2 torrent games this week. Wednesday, they do play the Boston Fleet, and on Sunday, they play the Minnesota Frost. In terms of the Seattle Kraken, 4 games between the Flames, Bruins, Wild, and Hurricanes. I'm going to say record wise, I think they can win 2 of these games in regulation. I think they're going to get their doors blown off by the Wild, and then I think they're going to lose in overtime to the Hurricanes. So I think they're going to go 2-1-1 in terms of that. In terms of the torrent, I think they're going to go 1-1.
All right. I'm in the same boat with the Kraken slate for this week. I want to keep the streak going for as long as you can, but it is eventually going to break, and I do think it is against the Wild that is going to happen. The Torrent have been absolutely electric to watch. If you have not been following along with the Seattle Torrent, go over to YouTube. They put full game replays on the PWHL. Watch the one from this weekend against the Toronto Scepters. It was a shootout win, an absolutely filthy shootout goal from Anna Wilgren. If you go over to our TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, I put up a short putting it kind of side by side with the Maddie Benier shootout goal because we had like just a shootout showcase for Seattle over this weekend. And one thing I'm loving about the torrent games and PWHL games, having not followed them super close in the past, is they're like surprisingly physical, especially when you look at Aneta Terelova just absolutely blowing up Sarah Fillier, which ended up being a 2 game suspension. But holy man, some of these hits they're laying out are actually pretty exciting, and these are pretty nitty gritty games.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to admit that I didn't expect to. I knew that like there was hitting in the PWHL, but like to that level, I was not ready for. So like that hit specifically, I was like, oh wow, okay. And then I
Like
saw it was
that
a
hit was
2 game
hitting
suspension.
that hit was hitting like the mainstream
Oh
Instagram accounts and stuff like that. So
yeah, I
uh
was blown away by it.
not great that she got suspended for a couple games, but I mean, you take no publicity is bad publicity, right? So you got to get eyes on the game somehow.
Hey, got to do what you got to do.
All right, and then lastly, for our baby squids, how are things going in Coachella?
So Coachella is now sitting 6th in the Pacific with a record of 16, 11, and 4. Furcus is still sitting atop the leaderboard. He's got 14 goals and 18 assists in 31 games. This week they do play 2 games. They play both at home Wednesday against the Silver Knights and again on Saturday against the Silver Knights again. Like I said, if you want to watch all the hockey you can and follow all these prospects, definitely check them out. You can hit them up on the Flow Sports app. It is subscription based, but you get everything. You get so much hockey, it's just ridiculous. So I would highly recommend it if you want to follow the OHL and other counterparts. You can follow a lot of hockey there. So hit it up. Coachella Valley Firebird hockey is great to watch too.
Awesome stuff. And speaking of Jagger Furcus, he actually just hit his 100th Coachella game mark last week. So a nice milestone for him. Like I said, we love celebrating those milestones. And that's going to do it for this week. If you want to find some more BTW online, I'll let you know where you can do that. Usually I throw to Derek for this part, but I will let you know. First of all, go check out the store, bit.ly/BTW store. Check out t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, coasters, stickers, whatever you want. We probably have it in many different designs. We have Shane Wright, Joey Decor, Monty Mania. The Mush one is still in there. We haven't taken it down. So if you're wanting to get some soon-to-be limited edition Mason Marchment merchandise, go and scoop some up. Maybe I can sell that design to someone who runs a Columbus Blue Jacket fan store. We'll see. I'll see what that IP selling process is like. As we said at the start of the season, go check out Heather's articles. The links are always in the show notes. Go follow at Heather Nicole and at the Hockey News W on Twitter if you want to see more of her work. And as we teased before, she's going to hopefully be back in our audio feed soon, dropping PWHL episodes. If you can, be so kind on whatever app you are listening to this on, be that Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube, whatever it might be. Please go drop a follow, a subscribe, and a 5-star review on the podcast app of your choice. Like I said off the top, big shout out to Tony Tonti for recommending us on Reddit. I love that. So the more people you let know about us, the more ears we can be in, which we big time appreciate as the pretty little fish in this pretty big pond of big hockey news coverage. And lastly, go ahead and drop a follow on all socials. It helps us out a whole lot if you just take 1 second to click the like button as you're scrolling by on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, or drop a comment on those videos. Like I said, stuck one up the other day showing a side-by-side of Anna Wilgren and Maddie Benier shootout goals, which is super exciting to see. So trying to get more into that, go over to anywhere you want to follow us at BTWSEA. That is at BTWSEA. I could not whip up a poem off the top of my head like Derek typically does. Sorry to let people down, but we'll hopefully be back to full force next week. Alex, do you want to give us a high-pitched Derek style goodbye?
Bye.
Okay, you peaked your mic, but that'll have to do. All right, everybody, we'll see you next week. Go Kraken.
Going beneath the waves, going beneath the waves.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.